An interesting and somewhat balanced article coming out of Newsweek, believe it or not, about the UNC Charlotte shooting. After UNC Charlotte shooting, Parkland families activists call for action, but differ on solution. I just want to read some of this because there's some things that I think we need to, again, highlight anytime there's a quote-unquote alleged mass shooting anywhere, because we know what the calls are after this happens, but this is kind of interesting coming out of Newsweek. After the shooting at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, several former Marjory Stoneman Douglas students and families, of course, of those killed during the shooting at the Parkland, Florida high school called for action to be taken. And we know coming out of Parkland what action they want taken, although they disagreed with the path forward. Since the February 14th, 2018 shooting in Florida, parents, siblings, spouses, and classmates of those who lost their lives pushed for changes they asserted could help prevent others from suffering a similar loss. And guys, all of us are on the same page as far as nobody wants any more future victims of what they call gun violence. It's not really gun violence because the inanimate object, no matter what the senators and congressmen or anti-gun activists tell you,
when you get right down to it, the gun is what is going to do the killing.
It's not gun violence. The people committing the violence are the people that are using these tools to hurt other people. Nobody wants this, but everybody's differing on how we should stop this quote-unquote gun violence. On Tuesday, 2 people were killed, allegedly, and at least 4 were injured during a shooting at UNCC before the suspected shooter was apprehended. The shooter was a reminder of the reality for students on campuses across the country, and the people who've been fighting for change over a year reignited their calls for something, and it's always like this, something to be done to stop the violence. Not only does something have to be done, but the people from whom they expect this something to be done are the political parasites in Washington's district of criminals. And the irony couldn't be any more grave. We're going to ask a bunch of criminals who don't give a damn about us to make laws that are going to supposedly protect us, when actually what those laws do is they criminalize innocent people who haven't harmed or threatened to harm anybody because one lunatic decided to harm or threaten to harm others. During a discussion at the White House in the days following the Parkland shooting, Andrew Pollack, whose daughter Meadow was killed, made a plea in favor of school safety. Now, as far as I know, this Andrew Pollack guy has not called for any gun legislation. He has not called for the government to come in and confiscate anybody's guns, despite what happened to his daughter Meadow. And that's commendable, guys, because most people do. They just go off the rails and ask for gun confiscation, gun registration, background checks. At the time, he argued it wasn't a partisan issue and schools should be treated the same way as airports, which he noted had new policies put in place immediately after this says September 11th, 2011 terror attacks. Come on, guys. Let's fix that, Newsweek. Now let's just take a look at some of these airport policies and how effective they've been. This right here says TSA failed to detect 95% of prohibited items at Minneapolis Airport, according to this report from the Washington Times. This report right here comes from Arrow News, but it talks about 90% of the time tests failed at Denver International Airport. This right here from CNN, acting TSA director reassigned after screeners failed to test to detect explosives and weapons. So we're not just talking about body wash and shampoo. We're not talking about taking your shoes off. We're not talking about taking your belt and your rings and your watch and putting your laptop up on the screener. We're talking about these people missed, in this report right here, 67 out of 70 tests. This right here, 90% of the time. This right here, 95% of the time at this airport. 95% of the time, basically, items like guns and bombs have made their way onto departing flights going through the $8 billion a year TSA. So to ask for government to help us in our schools, just like they help us in our airports, is literal lunacy. And the facts bear this out. When is enough going to be enough? Andrew posted on Twitter on Tuesday. We need to secure our schools now. Now, if you were going to do anything, securing your schools would be a good thing to do. Taking guns from innocent people is not a good thing to do. It's absolutely immoral. He talks about things like secure the perimeter, control the flow, protect the interior, develop the school safety volunteer network, increase parental communication, and all these things that do not include taking guns away from innocent people. Now listen to Andrew's son. Andrew's son, Hunter, agreed that the time to act was upon Americans, but took a different approach about what had to be done. Hunter, a Florida State University student, posted on Twitter that tomorrow he'll sit in class with 200 students with zero protection. What's he talking about? This guy's got a level head on his shoulders. In one tweet, he asked, "When will legislators pass campus carry laws so I can protect myself?" Amen. And in a second tweet, he said that Americans shouldn't be prohibited from protecting themselves anywhere. This is a kid who's sitting there in class saying, look, let me just carry my firearm. At least I have a fighting chance of making it. I have a fighting chance of protecting myself and my classmates and my teacher if some madman walks in with a gun. But then there's people like Fred Gutenberg, who Newsweek says his daughter Jamie Gutenberg was killed. And this guy spent the immediate aftermath of his daughter's death advocating for changes to America's gun control laws. Fred Gutenberg wants the government to come in and steal your guns, even though you're innocent. You've done nothing wrong. You've never threatened anybody. You've never wielded your gun in a threatening or irresponsible way. He just wants the government to come in and take your guns because he thinks that's going to make everybody safer. Since the shooting in Parkland, he pursues this activism on a daily basis still, and on Tuesday, he also posted on Twitter about the shooting, writing, "Enough." He told anyone who didn't believe America had a problem to get out of the way, and he argued that more guns weren't the solution. He said, if you believe more guns are the solution, you are wrong. We have a problem in this country, and if you argue with that, you are part of the problem. We don't have a gun problem in this country. We have an insane people problem. And I don't care if the NRA says it or not. The only thing that's going to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with the gun. And even these people have to admit that. Why? Because what's the first thing that you do when you're in a situation like this? Number one, you pray. And number two, you call what you think is a good guy with a gun. And believe me, guys, when seconds count, police are minutes away. Most of the time, they're not going to arrive in time to save you. David Hogg, a co-founder of March Against Our Rights, retweeted Gutenberg's tweet and also penned one of his own. "I'm so sick of being sick and tired. The only thing stopping us from saving 40,000 lives annually isn't people caring about gun violence, it's a couple of senators." So he wants the psychopaths of government to step in and save the day. Guys, I'll leave the link to this Newsweek article in the description below. Leave your thoughts for the world, the Google Thought Police, and the people who want to take your guns away in the comments section below. I'll see you in the next heavily censored Shadow Man video. If you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. Also, check out over 100 hard-hitting designs in the shirt store, and if you want to support more content, hit me up on Patreon or PayPal. All those links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored Shadow Ban video.